the smallness, at least for me with my with my bigger hands, the smallness of this one, because the caps are loose, that when you are actually trying to hold it, it seems like you're gonna break it. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Is It Worth It, where I go around the world and the internet looking for art supplies that make your life a little bit better, or for you to enjoy the craft just this much more. Now today we are going to a company that I have never heard before, and I found it, I believe, at World Market. I don't exactly remember, but I believe it was World Market. And I saw the set and I was like, oh, let's try it out. And today we are going to be doing the Heaton and Parke marker set. Heaton and Parke marker set. The reason why I wanted to pick this up, because it was 24 markers for $6. So 24 markers for $6. I'm very interested in trying these. They're different size, it's a little smaller, and I've never ever heard of this company before. So I'm very excited to test these out to see whether or not they are actually worth the $6 that I spent on it. But as you know, there is only one way to figure that out, so come on, let's go check them out. Alright, so this box is, it's pretty cute, right? It's got a nice little handle on it and goes up and down, so it's pretty fun. It's a nice little box. That's the main reason why I picked it up. Well, that and the price, right? But it's $6. There's not much on this box except a lot of warning label, which I find really funny. It's got your price, and then it says, hey, this stuff contains chemicals known to the state of California to cause cancer and birth defects or other reproductive harm. Okay. And then it's like, this is not suitable for children 3 years or younger. I'm like, all right. So I'm really curious. I think it's an alcohol-based marker, and that's probably why they have that warning label on there. But I don't know. So let's try and figure it out. All right. So the case, the case is very snug. Oh wait, is it? Oh, it's taped on. That's why. Ah, okay. So the case is not supposed to bend like that. It's a lot easier without the tape on there, but security tape, right? So let's see if it'll stay on afterward. All right, so that's nice. All right. First and foremost, they kind of look like the illustration markers from Five Below, which is fun, but these are tiny. This is almost as wide as a number 2 pencil, right? Like, these markers are super tiny. That is something that I personally am not a big fan of. Now, if they are made for like bullet journaling and it's supposed to be like a little pen, fine, but I don't know, like I like my markers to have a little bit more volume to them, because this just makes me believe that it's gonna run out really, really quickly. And so, that's just me. It doesn't feel. This feels like it even feels like the illustration marker as far as the plastic and how fake it may feel or whatnot. So it feels like a good marker. Oh look, it's a mini chisel. All right, that's cute, and it looks super saturated. And the bullet. All right, so all of this is definitely mini. It's got a decent snap to it. All right, let's see if it posts. They do. So the post is actually really strong, and it seems as though you see, because that's really loose on there. Let's see about here. Yeah, so it seems as though they have to be on the certain caps are on. Need to be on a certain size. So if you put the little one on here, it's kind of loose. I don't know, it's loose everywhere. So that's weird. So this actually loose, but it does have a snap to it. So it's on there, but it's loose when you move it side to side. So that's interesting. All right, as usual, we are going to be using our Bristol Board Smooth 300 series for our test paper. All right, let's kind of see what we got here. Okay, so here are all the colors. All right. And while I was putting all these colors in, I realized that that on some of them, right, the ink flow and color are absolutely fantastic, right? Super vibrant, colors are nice, right? They're just absolutely fantastic. As you noticed, some of the markers, the actual nib was coming out, and so, but they were super saturated. You push the nib back in and it worked fairly decent. But one of the things that I'm noticing is that on some of them, right, they're not ready to go right off the bat, and it's choppy, it's missing some stuff. But we're going to test them out just a little bit longer to see how they, you know, maybe they need to be warmed up or something. I don't know. We had one which was completely DOA, right? Gave us nothing, so we're going to start with that one and see if we can get some life back into it. Nope. All right, so this marker is dead. All right, so like completely dead. So out of the 24, we had one that was kind of toast. Not bad. We had this brown, which was giving us some problems. Nope, just needed to be activated. Okay, so 1 out of 24 is not bad at all. So we're gonna take this one. Right, so when it's working, the ink flow is really nice, but it's not oversaturated, at least in most of them, to where it gives a full coverage. Because if you've used paper and you know that it's porous, right? So when you put marker in it, if there's not enough ink flow, it doesn't get into all the spaces and you get a lot of white dots and stuff. So that's really what's kind of going on here. But it's a small pen, it's a small marker, and these are all alcohol based, or at least it seems that way. Yeah, okay, so it is an alcohol-based marker. It doesn't have a strong smell, so that's nice, but I think it's because it's so small. But, right, so even with the small chisel, you do get your different sizes, so that's good. If you are blending, right, like if you are trying to get a solid color, you can get that if you go over it, which is nice. The smallness, at least for me with my bigger hands, the smallness of this one, because the caps are loose, that when you are actually trying to hold it, it seems like you're gonna break it. So that's kind of weird. I'm not a big fan of that. But I mean, you know, ink flow for the most part seems pretty good. And if you're not like pushing down and then pulling these, because it's not over, like I said, it's not oversaturating the paper, so you don't really get those dots at the beginning when you're making your straight line, so that's good. Oh, come on. Like I said, the post on these, like you put it into one another, those are stuck. Like that is a very strong grip. Let's try this orange. Right, it's nice. Let's see what happens if we go over it, if anything happens. No smearing, no pulling. Is it disintegrating the... Doesn't look like it's really tearing up the other color, so that's good. Let's see here. This orange, and this first yellow. Let's see if they blend. Let's see how they work together. Do this yellow first. It is a strong yellow, or orange, I mean. Didn't think that was gonna happen. Oh, okay, that's why. I'm gonna do that over again. That was my fault. All right, so do this yellow. this one, which is a bit strong, but that's really strong. That's a huge jump. But I think from this yellow to this orange, you can get a nice blend. Yeah, I think once it dries, it should be okay. Let's come in here and try and... It's not necessarily the most blending of colors. I've noticed no. And if you go over it too much, it starts eating up, right? Depending on so this darker orange, when we put the other orange on top of it, it started eating into it, so you are adding those white dots, so it doesn't seem like it wants to be too saturated before it starts causing problems for the paper. So there's that. Let's do our pen test. Edding. Tombow. King art. Alright, and we're gonna stick with the, we're not, we're just gonna take some of these. Like I said, we're not waiting too long for them, so if it's gonna pull out anything, it probably will happen pretty quickly. Colors. Most of these colors are super duper saturated, so I mean it's really nice for colors for that, but for it seems like a lot of the colors are kind of dying quickly, and I think it's because of this loose cap nonsense, but yeah, that's me. Let's see. Well, I have to say that it's not pulling on pretty much any of the colors. Down here, the Stedler is getting a little bit, right? So that's actually good if you plan on using fine liners and trying to do some marker, and when you get over it, you don't have to worry about it smearing. So that's good. So that's nice. I mean, I like that. And see, now that it's trying to dry, at least the ones that are closer in color, those are blending sort of good. I mean, it's all right. It's not the best at all. But then when you got to the darker one, it was like, nah, because it got oversaturated, and it's just like, I don't like you. We're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do that. We don't play that. So that was kind of weird. But you know, it's not the worst thing that's happened thus far. Alright, we're gonna just do our standard little face thing again. Alright, so it's not bad, right? Obviously we could use a darker color and it would probably work a lot better to where you could see it, but the thing is that what I found when I was doing it really quickly is that because it's so small, right? Because the chisel is so small, right? It takes a while to get that ink going, so to cover a bigger area like this, it's actually a problem because it takes a while to get all that. And then I had to go back to make sure that I had a nice even flat color. I had to go back over the whole thing again just to make sure that it was kind of flat.
Now, the benefit of having such a small chisel is I was able to get in and do all the lines with the chisel. So I didn't have to come in with the bullet point just to make the sharper lines. So there's a benefit there for using these smaller markers. Like, you only really need to use a chisel, but I don't know. It is definitely something that you have to consider.
All right, so we just got done reviewing the Heaton and Parke marker set. I was not impressed by these. They were really small, and it really felt like I was going to break them every time I was using them because of where it fell on my hand. And so I was always pushing on that cap, which was loose. So it felt like I was always breaking it. It felt better when I didn't have that cap on there, but I mean, I shouldn't have to risk my marker drying out just to feel as though I'm not going to break the actual marker. Also, the ink flow, not necessarily the best. Some of them were good. A lot of the markers were kind of like they were pooping out before they even got started. And I don't know. I mean, yes, they were only $6, but if you're trying to use this in more of a professional manner, I don't know if these are going to be what you want. If you're trying to do larger illustrations, it did have a benefit of having everything being really small. So if you were trying to get in some minor details, you could probably pull it off. But I just don't think that these are where you'd want to go. They seem like they would be fine for maybe bullet journaling or something to that nature, where you're doing smaller illustrations and trying to like underline or highlight or write, right? Like if you were trying to like write names and stuff like that, then maybe this would be something for you. With the smaller chisel, you could get a lot of interesting lines and stuff like that, but it would have to be for a smaller space. That's the big thing. That's the big downside for me, is that the space that you could occupy with using the markers is small, right? Because it's just small, it's a small nib, so the ink flow can't come out as fast or as wide, so you have to go over things more often. And so if you're doing smaller illustrations, these could be good. If you are doing larger scale illustrations, I don't think these are great for that. It would be an interesting, easy gift for someone who's just starting, and you're like, hey, I want to get you some markers. These would be pretty good. But anything beyond, hey, I want you to have these markers to try, I don't know if this is something you would give to your art student or someone in college or just a professional in that manner. These are probably for some hobbyists, but I don't think that these are where we should go. And yes, they were only $6. For $6, you can't really fight it, but there are other things that you can get for $6 that are way better than these. Well, that wraps up today's episode. I hope that the information that you got here was helpful in some way, shape, or form. And if you have any suggestions for materials that you would like me to review, please go ahead and drop it in the comments below, and I will make sure to add it to the list. Now, if you are new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button and the bell so that you get notified every single time that I drop new content. Thank you all so very much, and I will see you in the next episode.